Hello, my Honda fans, my Honda lovers, my Honda enthusiasts. Coming at you live from the 04 Civic. Two-door. My first two-door Honda. We'll get into that. What I want to talk to you today is why older Hondas, and particularly the, what would it be, the 8th generation Hondas, and once again, particularly the Civics. Why I believe these cars are the best of the best that Honda has ever made. Yes, as controversial as that may sound to my fellow Honda enthusiasts, okay? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you my opinion on why the 8th generation, maybe it's the 7th generation, I'm not 100% sure, I believe it's the 8th, why they are the best, okay? Over all of the big performance cars Honda makes that you love, whether it's the Civic Si, whether it's the S2000, one of my personal favorites, the Prelude, the 8th generation Prelude, or the late 90s Preludes and early 2000 Preludes. I love those. You don't see them too much anymore. Bums me out. But even the NSXs, guys, I mean, all the, all the Hondas, the Accords, whatever. Why this particular car is the best of the best. So let's hop into it. Why would I say the 8th generation Civic is the best Honda that Honda ever made? It's quite simple, guys. I love to go fast and I love to have fun. I got my 5-speed here. Okay, play with my stick all the time. I'm an older gentleman, middle-aged, been around the block. I've had quite a few Hondas in my day. And I come back to one of the last years of the 7th generation. I come back to the 04 Honda Civic Coupe. I'm going to go over the history of the Hondas I've had real quick. My first Honda was a 91 Honda Accord, 4-door, EX, 5-speed manual. I loved that car. I purchased that car in 1998, October 98. So it was, 7 years old when I bought it, okay? And it had the 2.2 in it, the 2.2 4-cylinder. I loved it. I loved that car. I'd still have it today if I didn't total it. I swear I would. My next Honda was quite a few years later. Actually, no, it really wasn't that longer later. Totaled my Accord in 02. And I bought a 1991 Acura Legend in 2004. It was a 4-door Legend. The 2-door Legends are really rare. If you're a Honda fan, you know this. Especially a 2-door Legend with the 5-speed manual. Oh boy. I just seen one of those not too long ago. Actually, when I bought this car in Virginia, I drove from Ohio down to Virginia to get this car. I seen a 2-door Legend for sale, believe it or not, coming back. I had to stop and look at it. Stopped and looked at it, and it was a frickin' 5-speed manual. It was in rough shape, though. It was in rough shape. And for the money the guy wanted, granted, I know that they're worth a lot of money these days, but it was in rough shape and needed a lot of work. So anyways, I had a 91 Acura Legend, and Man, was that car fun, man. Oh my goodness, dude. That car was something. I drove that car through the winter in 04, 05. Was it 04? Yeah, it was 04. The winter of 04, 05 in Northeast Ohio. And I've driven many different cars in the wintertime, semi-trucks in the wintertime, all different types of stuff in the wintertime. And, man, nothing I have ever driven in the wintertime in snow handled as good as that four-door Legend. That car was unstoppable in the wintertime. I don't know if it was the wheel placement. You know, you go back and you look at the Legends of the early to mid 90s, and the front wheels on that car are really far forward, okay, and it's got a real wide stance to it. Maybe that had something to do with it, the disbursement of the weight. That car was unbreakable in the wintertime. I swear, I had my sister with me one day, and my sister's a damn good driver, much like all of my family is and was. She was getting a little freaked out, and I'm like, just watch, Jamie, just watch. And it was like 3 inches of slush. I mean, just thick snow, you know, stuff that most front-wheel drive cars, you know, you'd lose traction, you'd pull to the right, you'd pull to the left, you know, kind of like this thing does a little bit. But it wouldn't slip. It would never break traction. Okay, so I tend to elaborate quite a bit on things. Want to keep you guys around to finish the video. So I only had that car for about a year and a half. Blew the tranny in it, replaced the tranny, and then I started having some electrical issues with it and some overheating issues with it, and I sold the car to a buddy of mine for $400, $350, I think, actually. I regret it now, because if I would have just let the car sit in the freaking garage, I probably could have sold it for, I don't even know how much. I don't even want to think about it. 10 grand, 15 grand, who knows? It was in pretty good shape. So then my next Honda, after the Acura Legend, let's see here, I gotta dig deep in my memory bank here. So I got rid of my Legend in 05, early 05, late 04, something like that. Actually, maybe I bought my Legend in 03. Anyways, details are important to me. Oh, details are important to me. So then I had a couple different cars in between my next Honda. I had a Chevy Beretta. I had a Celica, Toyota Celica. That's what I had. That car, nothing to brag about at all. I'm not a Toyota fan. I mean, unless you talk about the Supra, and that's just, you know, certain Toyotas, yes, but the average Toyota compared to a Honda, I'll take a Honda any day. Anyways, so then my next Honda was a 2001 four-door Civic LX with a 5-speed. Good car. Great car. Great car. What are they? I think I purchased the car with what did it have on it? I purchased the car in 05, so it was like 4 years old, and it had 76,000 miles on it, I think. Okay, I drove the ever-loving piss out of that car, and I beat the hell out of it too. I mean, there wasn't too many times where I come to a stop and didn't just rip the tires, okay? And I gotta go back to the Legend for a second. The Legend had the 3.2 in it, okay? The 3.2 is an absolute freaking monster of a motor, man. I would have put that 3.2 motor up against any V8 American car. Maybe not a 1. Maybe not to beat it, but I guarantee you that car would have been nipping at your freaking heels. Still to this day, and probably the rest of my lifetime. That's the fastest I've ever gone in a car, was in that Acura Legend. I had that Acura Legend at 145 mile an hour one night on a back road, and I was dying to see, the speedometer on that car. I think said 150, 160, something like that. I really wanted to pound out that. I really wanted to see. I really wanted to get it up to the top speed. I really did, but kind of ran out of road. And I was getting a little nervous at 145. I can't lie, I'm a good driver, but at the same time, I'm not stupid. And at the same time, I really don't have a death wish. A little bit, But yeah, okay, so then back to the 01 Civic. The 01 Civic, great car. Just great car, man. So reliable, so dependable. Ended up blowing the motor in it because I was terrible with the maintenance. I think I only gave the car like 2 or 3 oil changes the whole time I had it in 4 years, okay? If that tells you something. And I was in my mid-20s, and I'm not a mechanic, so I just didn't change a freaking oil, okay? If I would have changed the oil, it would have lasted longer. Now, I did keep the car for quite some time after I blew the motor. I ended up replacing the motor, replaced the clutch, and eventually, what the heck was it? After I had the motor changed in it, my mechanic somehow didn't tighten up the alternator all the way. And one day I pulled out of work to get it going, and the alternator dropped. Just fell off the bracket. And here, when that happened, it took my, I had a really good Honda mechanic at the time. The guy had worked on Hondas for 40 years, Rising Sun Automotive. And took him a few days to figure it out, what the problem was with it. But here, when the alternator had dropped, it had short-circuited the main computer. So it had fried the main computer. The gauges were screwed up. It ran like shit. I kind of drove it like that for about a year, I think. And then I just set the car aside. And my ex I was with at the time, I looked at her one day and was like, I want to go get another Honda. And I was like, but I just don't want any Honda. It's like, I want a Honda that I really want. Okay? And I had a infatuation with the 9th generation 4-door Civics SIs. I loved the look of the 4-door SI Civic. So I hopped on the internet, was looking around, and within a 200-mile radius, there was 5 for sale. And one of the closest ones was about 50 miles away down in Akron. And it had a great look to it. It was the gunmetal gray, kind of like the brownish color. So I went and looked at it, test drove it, fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with it. What a blast that car was to drive. Just a blast, okay? So I ended up buying it. At the time when I bought it, it had 45,000 miles on it. And it was 6 years old when I bought it, with only 45,000 miles on it. And I took it easy on that car. I didn't drive it real easy, but I was easier on it than my other Hondas. I'll put it like that. Kept it in the garage in the wintertime. I didn't drive in the wintertime. I had the car for 9 years, I think. Okay. Now, the one thing that upset me with that car was it had the 2.0 in it. It had the first K20. I believe it was the K20A. The guy who had it before me, he did some work to it. He had it lowered. He had it set up right. He had the Honda in it. Short ram cooler intake. Nothing really special, but the car sounded fantastic. It did not sound like any. I still have not heard an SI that sounded like that car did when the VTEC kicked in. The VTEC on that K20A just freaking screamed, man. I had so many people when I would tack that car up to the VTEC, because it had the rev limiter on it to where it would max out where the VTEC kicked in, and it would just scream. I had so many people say, "Oh man, that's a turbo. That's got a turbo." Like, nope, no turbo, naturally aspirated. My dad has a 04 Mustang GT, and the one day him and I were screwing around in it, and he was afraid. He was actually afraid to give me a legitimate go at that Mustang. Not saying that he thought I was going to beat him, but he didn't want to see how close I was going to be to him, okay? So I'll just leave that at that. So, and before I bought that car, we bought my ex that was a 07 Civic Si. I don't know if I said that. And the disappointing part with that car, I kind of skipped over this, was the gas mileage. It had a 2.0 in it, and on the highway in that Civic Si, you were lucky to get 25 a gallon in that car, and you had to run premium in it because it was a high compression motor. Okay, so you had the downfall of running the expensive gas in it, and then the worst gas mileage, which is going to circle back around to my point of this whole video. So before we bought my SI, we bought my ex in 07 Accord EXL, 4-door with the 6-speed manual. That car was, I like that car. I almost bought that identical car when I bought this car last year. They had almost the identical car to what my ex had. The only difference was it had a different color interior to it. I really wanted to get that car. Okay, this is where my point of the video comes in. The reason why I did not buy that car over this car, my 04 2-door coupe, which is my first 2-door of all my Hondas. My 91 Accord was a 4-door. My 91 Legend was a 4-door. My 01 Civic was a 4-door. My ex's car was a 4-door. My Civic Si was a 4-door. This is my first coupe. You know, and the reason why I bought a coupe was because of how bad I wanted to get back in a 1.7 liter 4-cylinder 5-speed. Okay? For the gas mileage and the reliability. The reliability and the gas mileage on these 1.7s, it's like a sore Peter. You can't beat it no more. You can't beat it. You touch it, it hurts, man. Can't beat it. These frickin' 1.7s, you know, you're getting 35 miles a gallon on some of them. You know, this thing goes down a little bit towards the end of the oil change. You know, if you're running highway, you're definitely going to be between 30 and 35 miles a gallon. And they're just so reliable. They are more reliable than the V6 Hondas and the automatic Hondas. I want to encourage anybody in the Honda market, okay, all the new Hondas, the 2.0s and the 2.4s or the 2.5s, whatever the new motors are they're running in these Hondas, even like after the 9th generation, you know, number one, the Honda transmissions, you know, I'm just leery on automatic transmissions, all right? If you drive rough, if you drive hard, automatic transmission ain't the way to go. Okay, eventually you're going to burn out that training. The clutches, however, in these Hondas, if you know how to drive a standard shift, man, they last. They last. Let me tell you, this 04 I bought, I had no fear in purchasing this car for $3,200 with 268,000 miles on it. Okay? 268. I've had it a year. Guess what the mileage is on it now, okay? Mileage on it now, let me just double check right quick. 301. 325. So I have put 33,000 miles on this car since I bought it. Okay? And that's 33,000 miles the most efficient way possible. Okay? Great gas mileage. Great reliability. Yeah, I've put a little bit of money into this car. Okay? But I'm not afraid to put money into this car. You know why? Because I'm going to keep driving it. It's going to keep going. Period. Body is, pretty nice on this car. It's got a couple little rust holes in the quarters. Underneath the car was pretty nice. With it being in Virginia, it did spend one winter in Massachusetts, which was probably where the rust come from. And, it'll probably get worse after bringing it to Northeast Ohio, the Rust Belt. But no shame at all in me buying a 20-year-old car. I look at everyone buying new cars. Maybe not so much anymore because of the way the car market is now. But if you're looking for bang for your buck, you have got to go with a 1.7 Civic. And if possible, a 5-speed manual, okay? I know driving a 5-speed is becoming a dying art. Not many people like to do it. The ones that do love to do it. I ain't no half-hearted Honda fan. I love my Hondas, man. There's something so nostalgic about being behind the wheel of this Honda right here, okay? I love it. One thing I hate about it, okay, this is, don't hate. It's annoying to me because all my other Hondas were 4-doors. Having the 2-door is a pain in the ass for me, okay? Not that I use a lot, I got tons of shit in here. This car is loaded down with shit, okay? Some people will look in here and be like, dude, you fucking live in here or what, man? But no. I just travel heavy, I guess. But yeah. Alright. Not too sure how I'm going to title this video. Not too sure if I'm even going to post it yet or not. But if anyone likes it, give it a thumbs up. And I'll be giving my opinion probably on some more stuff here pretty soon. I got a lot of knowledge to spread around. And feel like I need to. So, if you appreciate this, you like to hear this annoying voice, you like my opinion, you agree or disagree, hey, you're allowed to disagree. I'm sure you probably love your Honda no matter what it is you're driving. But, yeah, you won't change my mind over a 1.7 Civic manual. Period. Peace.